Alejandro's book on its recommended reading.
Joins the fight against intolerance in black and white.
Later, Bill Clinton about what's behind the rash of school shootings we've seen lately. You hear two words mentioned over and over: teasing and harassment.
But this evening, News 12 New Jersey's Tom Fitzgerald introduces us to a young author from Fairhaven who's trying to fight intolerance by telling his own story.
You might think a 12-year-old doesn't know enough to talk about racism, but you'd be wrong.
A boy said to me that the only job I could expect to have when I grew up was to work at a gas station. A girl thought my parents illegally crossed the border carrying me in a basket.
Alejandro Gac-Artigas has heard those remarks all of his life. It's why he wrote this book. Yo Alejandro are the stories of harassment he's faced as a Latino American.
As I wrote them down on paper, I started to let go of the pain, to starting to feel relieved that now people would know the harm that it caused me.
Johns Hopkins book on its recommended reading list for kids. Even his parents say until they read it, they didn't know how bad things were.
The kids think that yes, a kind of honor code. They cannot talk about different things to the parents.
This talk at the Bradley School in Asbury Park is one of many that Alejandro is making to discuss the fallout from intolerance. It's probably no surprise to you that many of the kids in this school say they have first-hand experience in discrimination, and not just over race. It comes in the form of teasing on their hair, their clothes, even their favorite sports teams. But they say Alejandro proves you don't have to fight about it, you can write about it.
You say stuff about it, but they know it's them, but you don't do no names. But they'll know it's them and they'll like say sorry to you or whatever.
It makes them feel dumb because you didn't mention any names, but you know it was you.
Alejandro says many of the kids he wrote about now know they were wrong. If it helped someone else, he says it was worth it.
It's working in my school, and I hope it'll work in other schools.
In Asbury Park, Tom Fitzgerald, News 12, New Jersey.
Young man with a future. School officials in Asbury Park say they have dedicated the entire month of March to teaching kids ways to become more tolerant of one another. The program includes evening sessions for parents as well.
It's nice. It encompasses everybody. Officials in...
My first guest tonight is a published author. He is a poet. He's a motivational speaker. He's an observer of society. And before I forget, Alejandro Gac-Artigas is 12 years old.
Yo Alejandro are the stories of harassment